Okay, so to do our lesson today on chroma keying and compositing, we're going to be talking about where we'd like to be. The final result of what we're going to do is going to look like this. So I have my title safe area on here, but you should be able to get the idea that I wasn't really in Aspen, Colorado today playing hooky. This was keyed in as the background. So first you would want to record your video and find your picture, create your project in Premiere, and bring those assets into your project. So we have our video and then the picture. Once you bring, the first thing then would be, after you bring everything in, is to set what are called our in and our out points. Because if I watch this video from the beginning, I'm going to have me kind of walking in, and it's just going to be unnecessary video, as we're seeing here. I think I'm at the end there. So if I rewound back, you would see me walking in, and just unnecessary footage. We could put it on our timeline and cut it out, but we always try to do non-destructive editing, means that we're not affecting the original video. So I'm going to, as I double click it, it opens in our source monitor. Remember, your program monitor just shows what it looks like with the effects applied. So I'm going to come into here. I will scrub through to find where I want my actual video to start, the usable footage. A keyboard shortcut you can do too, or using your mouse. If you roll the mouse wheel, it advances by frame. So I know that can help you to really find the point where you want it to start. Once you do that, you press the little curly bracket here. That establishes the end point. So all this video over here will not show up in our project or our program view. I would then scrub ahead to where I want to stop having my video, which I have this bracket here, so I can just kind of get to that point and press the out button. Alright, now when I drag this to my timeline, it makes a sequence, and it's only going to show this portion here. Alright, it doesn't show any of that stuff in the beginning or the end that I don't want to be part of my video. Alright, so, and that's where the pre and the post roll kind of comes into play there also. So we have a little pause at the end so that we don't have a real abrupt kind of ending to it. So I'm going to talk about next thing. I notice that the audio is a little bit low. So if I go to my editing palette or workspace here, I can adjust my audio level. So I'm just going to increase this. And now if I play, I should see my audio level goes up a little higher.
Hi, my name is Mr. Duza. Not to be anywhere right now.
Alright, so that should be a good start with audio. Alright, now we're going to start working with video and getting rid of this background and then putting our picture behind it. So the first thing to do for that would be go to the effects panel, and we're going to type in key. And I like using the Ultra key. So what we're going to do is just drag this effect, as we would with any effect, onto the video. And then in our effects control, you're going to use the eyedropper to sample the color that you want to have removed. We can see that the background isn't evenly lit all over, but kind of around here and here it's pretty much the same tone. So if I click on there, it removes it all, and we have a little bit of cleanup to do there. Now we do have a lot of variation happening out here, so I'm going to actually crop my video. Alright, so if I type in my effects crop, I can then drag that to my video, and then in my effect control I can use these numbers. They're actual sliders, so I can just drag over the edge there. Don't go too tight, just in case you kind of move a little bit back and forth. Some people, as they're talking, you kind of sway back and forth. So don't go like right up to your arm or whatever, because then as you move you're going to get kind of chopped off. Alright, and I'm actually going to do the top also, just to remove any of that. And with that, then I can also move myself down to give myself a little more headroom. I'll use this position value to drag that down. Alright, so now I can kind of I have a lot less to kind of clean up with our mat there, as it's called, or the keying. So I'm going to go into this mat generation category. This pedestal value seems to, if you just drag it out to 100, and then I'll get the shadow also. So now I don't see any of that kind of hazy residue around there, which would be seen in the picture that we put behind there. Alright, so now we have our background pretty much removed. I'm going to bring in our background picture. So to do that, I need to kind of put it underneath my video layer, right? So to put it under, I just can drag this one up. So now we have a layer under there. And now I can take my picture, which is this one, I believe. Alright, so I can now, it looks like I'm there, right? We can adjust our duration so that it stays visible the whole time. And to remove these black bars, or to make it fit, we'll just select the picture and we'll scale that. If you have to do that, I don't know if you do. Alright, so now we can kind of do that. I'm going to get rid of my action safe area for right now, because that's kind of distracting me. So remember, we just add that. Now I can turn it off. I do want to move myself, trying to think about the rule of thirds. So just kind of a couple more tweaks here. So we'll select our video layer. I'll change my X position now so I can move myself off center. And finally, I'm going to just kind of look into the color. We can start doing a little color correction. So we could do some exposure, kind of getting a little more light into the scene. Maybe work with the temperature. You can see it's giving me a little more warmth. And then you could obviously go into any of these things. We always want to have a nice range of contrast from lights to darks, which I don't know if I feel like that temperature is a little yellowish or orange. But you can play with this, and then if you are familiar with curves, like in Photoshop, you have all these options down here, and you can adjust those curves a little more and get into that. But I would, I think that the first ones in this basic correction category will help you a lot to get that corrected in there. All right, and that would basically be it. So if we play this back through now, and if we want to maximize it, we do the Control tilde button, and I can press space.
Hi, my name is Mr. Duza. If I could be anywhere right now, I'd be out in Colorado, snowboarding down the most cool, awesome mountains, and enjoying the snow in the last days of winter.
All right, so happy with that. We'll just do our export process. So File, Export Media. H.264 is our setting for MP4. We will name this. So I'm going to go back to video production, and I'll just kind of call this maybe Where I'd Like to Be. Save it, and this shouldn't matter, but I always do entire sequence just to make sure, and then I'll export. And then we can upload that to YouTube. If you don't want it to be, if you're a little shy, I would just put it up there as unlisted. All right, and then nobody will really be able to search and find it. So I can then, but we always do want to check our files afterwards. So it's after it's exported, I'll do one final check here. So OCBTS multimedia, and then video production. Here's my video.
Hi, my name is Mr. Duza. If I could be anywhere right now, I'd be out in Colorado, snowboarding down the most cool.
All right, I'm sure nobody likes the sound of their own voice. I'm gonna trim that off there, and then I'll just kind of show you the last part here. If you're not sure what I'm talking about with your unlisted way of posting. So if we just do upload, and I can come back to my folder, drag this over. Alright, there's our title. I don't need a playlist. I'll just copy that for now. And when I do next, here's where we're talking about, right? So only people with the link can watch your video. It's not going to be searchable. It's not public where everybody's going to see it on your channel. You could do private, I guess, too, but then you'd have to set me, you know, you could, if you're really concerned about privacy, you can press that, and then I think if you just put my email address in there, then I would get it. But I mean, for most cases, I think unlisted would keep it relatively private for you from there. Alright, so I would like to see everybody's YouTube link in today's classroom. So in addition to kind of like your comment there, you can just follow that up with a link to your YouTube video. Alright, and that's about it for our demonstration there.